in the tradition of being environmentally conscious, obviously an electric vehicle wouldn't really be able to fulfill that role if it weren't using recycled materials, which this vehicle does in abundance. So inside the vehicle, the seats, the dashboard, the headliner, various other materials inside the vehicle are all made from recycled materials, primarily plastic, some aluminum, and again, the idea being that this is a very green vehicle. It's environmentally friendly, it doesn't output any emissions, and again, it uses materials that are recycled, again, to help clean up the environment. So looking inside the vehicle here, you'll see that there is a two-stage instrumentation cluster, and basically they serve for specific instrumentation that help you monitor vehicle performance, especially battery charge levels and the range of the vehicle, because there are various factors that impact range. There is an indicator on the top level there. It's a form of a tree, and the more efficiently you drive the vehicle, you actually start growing that tree. So again, the idea is you want to try to grow that tree to its maximum level to ensure the maximum number of miles out of a single charge. And conversely speaking, if you're driving the vehicle very aggressively and you're heavy on the accelerator pedal, which, by the way, if you notice, I didn't call it a gas pedal because there's no gas in the vehicle, then of course that tree starts to die. So again, in many cases, as Leaf owners drive the vehicle, and you certainly want to point this out to your customers, that you subconsciously start developing hyper-miling driving tendencies, which is really, again, a form of driving as efficiently as possible, minimizing the onboard accessories, minimizing drag, keeping the windows rolled up and so forth, and of course maintaining the proper speed limits on any roads that you may be on. One of the unique features of this vehicle that really help it stand out from a gas-powered car is the actual drive selector that you see here on the center console. One of the first features you'll notice that this vehicle is different compared to a gas-powered version is the fact that this does not have what's referred to as a prindle, which is for parking, reverse, neutral, and drive. In this case, it's simply kind of a joystick, and basically how it works is upon starting the vehicle, it's basically defaulted into neutral, and as you put it into drive, the motion that you need to go through is to the left and down, and that puts it into a drive mode. And what that initial movement does is put it into what's called eco mode, which is a more efficient level of the drive feature. It basically reduces the response time of the throttle, allowing you to conserve more energy. If, however, you wanted a more spirited driving experience and therefore much quicker responses, you go through the same motion one more time, and that will put you in regular drive mode, which does not delay the responses and therefore, again, provides a more spirited driving experience. Upon coming to a stop, you can either put this vehicle back into neutral, and by doing that, you just simply pull this to the left and you hold it there for a second until the indicator shows that it is neutral, and then you can let go. Or you can just simply come to a stop and then hit this button right here, which basically puts it into park. This item right here is essentially the electronic emergency brake, and as with a mechanical version, the way it operates is when you pull up on it, you are engaging it. You can see the red light is now lit up, and to disengage it, you push down. As with, again, a mechanical version, that would disengage it. Right now the car is not turned on, so the light is not turning on. And also one last feature is actually when you put it into reverse, it's the opposite of drive, where you go to the left and you go up, and that puts it into reverse. And then of course once you've backed up and you want to move forward, then you go ahead the same motion as before to put it back into drive. So you'll see the vehicle has two levels on the instrumentation cluster, and it provides a lot of vital information. Starting here with the bottom, you'll see that in this case it's right now in park. As you select drive selectors into reverse or into drive, you'll see that change accordingly. It will show you the amount of charge that you hold, and basically it's indicated by the horizontal bars. And the vertical bars to the right of that basically shows your battery capacity, which obviously at this point shows 100%. The 64 that's indicated right there is the approximate range of the vehicle, and the reason why it's not closer to the average of 100, even though we're almost at a full charge, is because this number is reflective of how the vehicle was driven prior to it receiving a full charge. So basically the onboard computer remembers the way it was driven, and accordingly, because it impacts obviously the range of the vehicle, it shows at 64, and that will change as soon as you start driving the vehicle on the new charge. And of course, if you drive more efficiently, then that number will increase. Going back to the instrumentation cluster, you'll see this row of circles across the top, and one of them is actually highlighted. Basically what this indicates is anything to the right of that would be indicative of the amount of power that you are using. So obviously as you accelerate harder, you'll see that more of those dots light up, and again that indicates you are drawing more power from the lithium-ion battery. Whereas to the left of that, that would show when you are in regenerative mode. For instance, when you are coasting or hitting your brakes, those dots to the left will go ahead and light up as well. And again, that would show the opposite effect, that you're putting energy back into the battery. This here is an indicator of the actual battery temperature, and that will pretty much always stay in that range right there unless you are driving in some very extreme environmental conditions. Say you're driving in the high desert and it's extremely hot, you may get an additional uptick in the temperature, but that basically is the average operating temperature of the battery. The top part there indicates on the left side right now, you don't see it because we're not actually driving the vehicle, but that is where the electronic tree would be displayed, which I mentioned earlier. As that tree grows, it would indicate that you are driving more efficiently. And of course, if you start really driving it more aggressively, then that tree starts to die off. And then of course in the middle you have your speedometer along with the time and ambient temperature. So the center console in the vehicle here is where the vehicle's telematics are located. It's a multifunctional display which controls your radio, your HVAC control, so your air conditioning and heating, as well as your Bluetooth features, your navigation, and of course car wings. So for instance, if you go to the main menu, you'll see a breakdown of those various different functions. For instance, with destination, you simply input where it is you want to go, and of course it'll guide you there through its navigation process. After you've logged a customer into their CarWings account, you really want to set up their home address as the default location, and I'll show you here how that is done. Going back to the main menu, you can indicate on here as well the route that you want to take, and also it'll show you basically along the route where charging stations are located, again to help you in case you do run out of a charge. There's additional information here in terms of where maintenance, where you are right now, and various other features that you see listed. It's pretty intuitive. As you click on any of these features, it'll kind of show you what that is about. And if you go into settings, the first thing you want to do with a customer is set them up on their actual CarWings account. You go ahead and click on CarWings and on sign in, and at this point you would have the customer's username and password because they've set up their CarWings account on the Leaf customer journey, which is the online sales process, and they would bring that with them, which you would go ahead and input at this time. And then once you've done that, then you go ahead and go into setting up the customer's home address as the default address, and basically it'll determine based on that address where what number one the driving radius is based on that address, as well as where the nearest charging stations are located, and also calculates the range based on the current state of charge that the vehicle will go from that location.